Bonjour everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video in which we're going to talk a little bit about esport and most specifically about the main reward of this season, which is the Tankenstein. As you can see directly in the shop in the esport section as just mentioned, you have the possibility of getting multiple items, but there is a weird currency. For those of you that don't know, this currency, those coins, are achievable only by playing tournaments, and once you pass those tournaments, you receive the coins, and in exchange for that, you can get some goodies, one of them being the Tankenstein. And this is obviously why today we are gonna take a look at this big boy. For the little context, this was the first Halloween tank to be implemented, and it's so old that it's linked to the German nation and not the Blitz nation, because obviously the Germans never tried to mount something such beautiful in a weird way, let's say. And it's basically the gun of the Ferdinand mounted on the turret of a KV-4, mounted on the hull of a Tiger P, with the engine of a mouse, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe not. No, okay, it's the original engine of the Tankenstein. And well, even if this tank is definitely not among the broken one, it still has some good sides, one of them being that you have the choice between two guns. To summarize briefly, the big one has a huge alpha damage, a long reload, and a bad gun dispersion. And the first one is the one you want to use when you want to be useful. What I mean by that is that there is nothing fun about it. It's just the same as the one you have on the Tiger P minus the Tiger 2 minus the gun depression that still sucks, and also the fact that you reload in 10.5 seconds. If I had to summarize that tank for you all, it's just an average one that has a regular mobility for a heavy tank, but it's closer to the one you have on the E100 and the mouse kind of mobility rather than the Russian heavy mobility, which means that you are definitely not going to be the first one to hit the battlefield. You're not going to be the first one to take advanced and aggressive positions, and you need to have that in mind when you are playing it. For the rest, nothing much to say except that your armor can do the job only when you are top tier. Otherwise, try not to do something stupid because you have two weak spots, this one right here and one right there. But as soon as people are shooting with gold shell, they will penetrate literally everywhere but your gun mantlet, which is huge enough to be mentioned here. In order for us all to understand the tank and especially the two guns, we're going to take a look at to replace with the two different guns. And we start here with the big one. As you can see, it's a little bit different from the Tankenstein I showcased in my hangar, which is kind of logical because, well, I tested the second gun after playing the first one, so I had the first gun mounted on the hangar. So basically, what do you want to do? With the Tankenstein, there are two things to take in mind. So let's say 4 playstyles. There is the playstyle where you're bottom tier with the big gun or top tier with the big gun, which is 2 playstyle, and there is the playstyle with the first gun, the small one, where you're top tier or bottom tier. So here, when you are playing with the big gun bottom tier, you are here to support. You don't want to rush in, you don't want to take shots. You are not meant for that because all the tanks in front of you, the higher tier tanks, they are gonna snap you out of existence. And this is why here I'm not trying to play too aggressively. I'm staying in the back, waiting patiently for them to do some mistakes and waiting for the rest of my team to either take shots for me and advance on the battlefield so I can follow them, or try to block the advance of my enemies on the sides to avoid getting circled. And as you can see, the whole reload of the tank with the big gun makes it kind of boring, at least in my opinion, because 17.1 seconds of reload for only 460 alpha damage when you are at tier 7. It can do the job because in 2 shots you can kill a tier 6, but as soon as you start hitting some tier 8s, it's just plain boring because it will take you 4 shots or 1 minute to kill someone. And trust me, it's not that fun. That being said, when you are playing with the big and top tier, your armor will be effective. And well, when it's effective, you can try to rush through, but keep in mind that when you do this with the big gun, you must have your team that follows you. Sorry about the Google Drive thing, I didn't know what happened. But basically, as I was just mentioning, never be alone when you are playing with the big gun, because when you have 17 seconds of reload, you are extremely exposed right after shooting. So yeah, keep that in mind. Now, of course, if you are, like me, not the best player in a Tankenstein, you're gonna feel a little bit useless on the battlefield. What I mean by that is that, well, here in this game, you don't feel like I'm an essential essential tank. Like, all my teammates, they did their things, I did mine too, but there was nothing that truly linked us together. They advanced on their side, I tried to frighten the enemies and I did not manage to because they still circled. And here you're gonna see the main problem I have with the big gun. When you are not aiming at all, it's just plain struggle to get your shots in. So for example, here I missed the first one on the Chimera. For the second one, I'm gonna try to penetrate the lower part, and once again it bounced. And on top of that, the mobility in these kind of situations, when you're in a 2 versus 1, it's just horrific, especially when they're tier 8. And here, if I did not miss those 2 freaking shells on the Chimera, I would have won because I would have enough time to reload my whole gun reload, and then kill the T-28 prototype using the T-28 Defender using an HE shell. Which is why, in my opinion, there is one gun that is better than the other, which is the first one, the small one, the one that reloads in 10.5 seconds, the one that is accurate, or at least more accurate than the other one. And of course, the one that allows you to be polyvalent or versatile on the battlefield. So basically, how does it work? Here, I'm top tier, and you're gonna see that it does a huge difference. There is only 3 tier 7 tanks in the other team, and in our team as well, and it's gonna show. Because basically, here, my armor is truly effective. You are the exact same as the one you have on the Tiger P for the hull. Well, you can play aggressively, and this is exactly what we're gonna do directly at the beginning. I wish my teammates went on the other side of the map, but they decided not to, so now we have to advance knowing this. So what do we do right now? We push in, we are taking advanced position, and from there we start hitting. The cool thing is that at tier 7, having 310 alpha damage is frightening enough for both tier 7 and tier 6, because it's gonna take you 3 to 4 shots depending on the number on the pool bar of the tier 6 to destroy them. And for the tier 7, it's gonna take maybe 5 or 6, but it's still dissuasive enough. So what do we do now? We play aggressively, and as you can see, we are effectively bouncing a couple of shells. Now, of course, sometimes I like to play aggressively, and especially when I see the VK, I see that he's starting to get weak, so I really want to kill him as soon as possible. But unfortunately, well, when I have 3 tanks in a row, I can't do that much. So we're still gonna keep it low. We are gonna stay in the back and only push when it's intended. And here, I think it's one of my few mistakes in this game. I just stayed here for too long, because I could have pushed the ARL. I could have done something as soon as I saw the VK4503 move, but I decided not to, and I truly don't have a clue why, because obviously there was nothing frightening for me right now. The VK3601H since the beginning of the game just bounced me again and again. I know he's not gonna be able to penetrate except if he uses gold, which he is not. And on the other side, there is the ARL44 that is just a one-shot for me and kind of an easy target to get. So what am I doing? I don't know. I mean, I recorded that at 7 a.m. and, well, at 7 a.m. I need my brain to start slowly, you know. So what are we gonna do? We are finally moving. We are going on the ARL. We kill it on the move, which is something you will not be able to do with the big gun on the Tankenstein. So 1 more point for the small gun. And now we go directly in. We go on the VK3601H. And here you're gonna see all the power of the Tankenstein when you're top tier. There is nothing that guy can do. I'm just gonna face hug him, and he knows that he can't penetrate, so instead of trying and bothering trying to penetrate me somewhere, he just starts to aim at my teammate. And well, not a problem for us, because we are gonna aim at the couple on the VK. Boom, we kill it, finishing the game with 2 kills, 2.6k damage, and a 7 1 ratio. So the victory, all enemy tanks are destroyed, and it allows me to talk a little bit about the credit coefficient of the tank, which is definitely not among the best. And there is a reason for that, as it was one of the first tanks to be implemented, premium tanks. Wargaming still didn't know at that time if they needed to do big, to create big credit coefficients or not. So they went for something average, and yeah, here I did 2.6k damage and I only got myself 66,000 credits, knowing that I'm using a premium account. So in the end, if I had to summarize, it's not the best tank to make credits, it's not the best tank to play overall, but the playstyle can be interesting from time to time. As I just mentioned, this gun, the 130mm, well, is just hilarious when you are playing top tier. So yeah, you need to make your choice, knowing that there is one thing I forgot to say, but you only have 6 degrees of gun depression with the big gun rather than 8 with your small one. So yeah, the small one overall is most efficient, but the funniest is probably the second one. So make your choice, but make it wisely, because of course you're gonna have to stick for it for the whole game. Hopefully you enjoyed, guys. Tell me in the comments if you are getting your Tankenstein or not, even if probably most of you already got it because it was free the first time it was released. And personally, I'm gonna see you soon for a new video. Bye.